Odinga, and this one is the immediate National Intermediate Boxing Championship, will be staged in Thika, Kiambu County on February 26th to the 28th, 2026. The Boxing Federation of Kenya has announced. Speaking from Vihiga County on Thursday, the national governing body of amateur boxing's communications director Dan Kankuria emphasized that these championships are also important to the top two finalists of each category because it's their ticket to earn an invitation to the Kenya Open, that is the National Open Championship that is scheduled for April 1st to 4th, 2026 here in Nairobi. And he says, and I quote, "Yes, we are headed to Nairobi in 2 weeks. Boxers who made it to the National Novices Final, in addition to those who featured in last year's Novices but never qualified to the next level, will have another opportunity in Thika to show us what they have." That is what he said, and these will conclude the National Novice Boxing Championships. All branches are now ready for their County Intermediate Championship. And again, I think what I really like is the gentleman is speaking in Vihiga, talking about a championship going to Thika for a culmination in Nairobi. That is taking us back to years back. You remember when boxing was huge?
Yeah.
I know you and I have come through the social hall system. When you would go to Shauri Moyo social hall, Kaloleni social hall, Huruma also had its own social hall, and you'd have a boxing ring, and you'd have serious bouts that were happening there every other weekend, and we had very serious boxers. The works of Kinawangila Napunyi.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, Muraya, this is very important for me, and I have been involved in this story. By the way, I have
now you want to say you've been a boxing
federation? No,
boxer.
I've not been a boxer myself. Any boxing
lightweight,
any boxing that may have happened. It was not recorded. It was not official. And cannot be elaborated. Well,
okay, I get your drift.
Yes, but then I've engaged the Boxing Federation from time to time, and this question of going back to the glory days when you had the famous hit squad,
yes,
that in the All African Games in 1987 won a total of 8 gold medals out of the 12 that were on offer.
Yes,
that's a squad that had Wanjao, that had Mohamed Bodiodur, it had the likes of Robert Wangila Napunyi, it had Chris Sunday, it had Duncan Kamau, it had all those amazing boxers. But then what has happened after that, that's the year after 88, we won Africa's first Olympic gold medal, won by Robert Wangila Napunyi, the late Robert Wangila Napunyi.
Yes.
With bronze going to Chris Sunday. Years later, we've been unable to replicate that type of glory, and we've just been going from just going down levels, levels of diminishing in a diminishing order. Right now, what we are seeing from these guys is very encouraging, and I think they found the route to get us back, because previous issues have been about maybe getting funding, getting sponsorship, and the sponsors have come in, and that has still not yielded the results that we expected.
Because the concentration has been on professional boxing at the top level.
Yes, exactly.
We have to build from the amateur level.
Exactly. And for us, the biggest thing is this, Moriah. It is about going back to the grassroots. Every sport that has developed has adopted a grassroots approach. If you look at rugby, for example, we're having this rugby sevens, the HSBC 2 tomorrow.
Yes.
What we're witnessing, and that glory, that recognition from the world, for us to be able even to host the world here in Kenya, has come from an effort where rugby was expanded. We talked about it here last week. Previously, we had rugby being played only by St. Mary's, Lenana, national schools and international schools.
Yes.
Right now, rugby is played in schools across the country. Rugby is being played in all corners of this republic.
True.
We were talking about Kiambu teams, and we were talking about Muranga teams.
For the ladies.
Yeah, ladies teams.
And by the way, I was personally shocked.
Who are participating.
Yes.
Now, this happening
and
in
Kiamba went all the way to the final, by the way.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, this happening in boxing is very, very encouraging. Where we're having teams from Vihiga, we're having teams from Thika, so that we're not only we're picking them right from the grassroots, so that by the time somebody is reaching a point where they're playing in the national league, in the national boxing league, or they're boxing for this country, that person has already gone through the ranks and they qualify on merit. I support this movement, and it would be amazing. I would like actually to be a part of this when it's happening. I would like to go to to Thika and see that National Open Championships, or the one in Nairobi, or the one even in Thika, coming at the end of this month.
Actually, he concludes by saying, according to the BFK, boxers should also be in shape and ready for the immediate international events in the month of April, even though the Women's Boxing Championships is yet to be confirmed with official dates and venues. But the stage 1 of the World Boxing Cup for the ladies 2026 is already scheduled for Fozdog Iguachu in Brazil from April 20th to 26th. And we also have another tournament that will be happening in Guiyang City, China, for the men from June 15th to 20. Now, let's end this.
Yeah.
There's something you said earlier on, and this was around that you have boxed, but it was never official.
Yes.
There is nowhere anybody can go on record and say karaoke dige 5 bouts, 3 defeats, 2 wins.
There is no record.
and one knockout.
There is
no record. So now we have 2 guys that have been making noise again in boxing. We have a guy called Majembe and another one called Mbavu the Destroyer.
Yes.
And our very own journalist, media personality and content creator Oga Obina has officially announced that these 2 will face each other on April 4th. Now watu wameanza kujisike. So the winner of the contest will walk away with 1 million shillings, a prize that has already stirred excitement and intense conversation across social media platforms. Now, Thige, let's first of all talk about, because these 2 guys are social media influencers, the ones that are about to beat each other, Majembe and Babu the Destroyer, and they are more famous for eating contests than fighting contests.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether, as they plan to box each other, they know the safety regulations that are supposed to be involved in boxing, how dangerous it can get, na hiyo kulimana inaweza fika mahali kuwe personal grudge. Sasa ikuwa hata si vita ya mangumi.
Yes.
Italeta vitu zingine.
But there's a big question. Yes, on one hand, we're talking about boxing being developed from the grassroots. But then there's this social media explosion, the likes of iShow Speed, getting into the world of athletics, challenging professional athletes into races. We are also seeing in athletics, actually still, we are seeing that the people who have been banned for doping want to form their own association where watu wa madawa sasa wana compete, lakini unajua kutumia madawa,
watu wa madawa wote watakuwa level moja ya high. So kama wakilemewa zikishika wanalemewa pamoja.
So some of these things actually are shocking. And the question is legality. Then the second question is safety. What are the health risks associated with these things? Now, these Majembe guys, Majembe and
Mbavu the Destroyer,
where did they come from and why boxing?
Wamestunya. What really?
Yeah, ni sawa. But it's very risky. For example, I'll tell you, we've just talked about boxing.
Angalia vile ama jamaa wanakaa. They are shirtless.
Wamestunya ndio, lakini
mtu amekula chuma vizuri.
I want to go back to a scenario where we mentioned Robert Wangila Napunyi, the Kenyan who won gold at the 1988 Olympic Games in Seoul.
And this comes with a disclaimer, because this is now the safety issue.
Yes, this is what I'm discussing.
Yes.
A few years later, when he launched his pro career, he actually started very well. He went on his first 12 bouts unbeaten. 9 of them were KOs. He was doing very well in the States, and he was headed for big things in the professional ranks and making serious money. But then something went wrong along the way. And his official promoters, I think they were Top Rank, who are very big promoters, they dumped him, and he went for some other different promoters who organized different fights for him.
Yeah.
So in one of those fights, I won't call it a street fight really, but in one of those fights that didn't follow the right order,
yes,
he actually lost his life.
Yes.
There are rules in boxing.
It was not sanctioned.
For example, the weight of each of those 2 opponents they should all measure the same weight. It is wrong to fight someone if you're 80 kilos.
Kilo ya ngumi
lazima zikuwe zinapimana. That is the first thing. Second thing, if you're doing pro boxing, how many fights can you fight within a year? And there are other checks supposed to happen, medical checks before that. So it's a nice social media thing. It's trending and all that. But I would urge these people to consult the officials in boxing and to make this thing happen the right way.
Well, it has to happen the right way. That is all all we had time for you today. We are back here tomorrow afternoon. Thige will be on the decks. It will be your debut kukaa hii pande ingine.
No problem.
Na mimi nitakuwa
forward to it.
Mimi nitakuwa kwa kiwanja mahali, then we'll also have Shadrack Odinga kwa kiwanja mahali, and King K tomorrow will actually also be outside for those watch parties, because we have the rugby watch parties that are happening. So King K will be at the watch parties. Catch us tomorrow afternoon from 3 p.m. all the way till 7 p.m.
The Sports Garage. Fuel